Oh, I think we've got a difference maker calling the hotline today. Spirit 1053, hi.
Hi, Erica. This is Shatone. How are you?
I am so delighted that we are connecting, and I can't wait to hear about the work that you are doing with lifting spirits by helping hands.
Thank you.
Okay, Shatone, how did you start helping people for a living? Tell me the story.
Okay. So back in 2019, I was hospitalized with a really rare disease. It was called parainfluenza 3, which is a lung virus. And when I got out of the hospital 2 weeks later, I couldn't walk. And so that virus triggered a really rare muscle disease called mitochondrial myopathy. And I was in a wheelchair for 2 years. And I did home therapy. The doctors told me it was progressive. There were no cures. I would never get better. But I had people praying for me, and I was praying, and I just never let go of my faith. And by the grace of God, I was able to start walking. So it started very slow. I went from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane to walking again. And during that, I had support of friends and family who were able to get the supplies that I needed because insurance doesn't cover hardly anything. They would cover the wheelchair, but not the walker. And so I needed a shower chair. I couldn't shower. I needed a ramp. I needed all kinds of things that my community and my friends and family really stepped in and provided for me. So I was like, okay, well, I see that there's a need for this. There's nothing like this in my community. I want to help others. I have a really serving heart. So I started my nonprofit and got my 501c3 in 2023. During that time, I went and got my associate's degree in business management.
Wow.
And then I finished and got my bachelor's degree. I just graduated last year in business management, and now I'm working on my master's in social work because I'm like, okay, if the doctors are going to say I can't work, I'm going to do what I can. I'm still on disability. So I started this with my own money, and I still fund it with my own money. So I started with just a few items on my porch and grew to a 10 by 10 shed. And now I pay for storage units, a 12 by 30 storage unit and a 10 by 10 storage unit. And it just keeps growing. And God is providing because there's such a need. And that's how I started, and then I'll let you ask more questions because there's a lot more I could tell you.
I mean, it's just an incredible story, Shatone. And I feel
Thank
like
you.
the worst thing that happened to you was what God used to bring out the most beautiful thing that you could be doing. Do I have that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So what would you say to someone right now who is experiencing the worst season of their life? And they're like, how could God bring something good out of this?
I would just say keep praying and don't lose your faith, and you will see that He will use you for something good. And you might not see it in the moment because a lot of times we don't. It took me 2 years before I could walk again, and 3 or 4 years before I started the nonprofit and really saw what God wanted me to do. But I really feel like this is my purpose. You just have to be open to hearing and listening and waiting. And a lot of times it takes patience.
Yeah. How do people respond when you bring a shower chair or a wheelchair or a cane?
I can tell you there's a lot of tears that are involved with this on both sides. So I take donated medical equipment. I refurbish it. I watch a lot of YouTube videos to learn how to repair things.
Wow.
And then I give them back to those in need for free. So on the receiving side, it becomes a real healing experience for the families. The reason they donate to me is because they know I'll give it away and not charge anything. I get hospital beds even donated and, all kinds of just larger equipment. And they'll hear about us and they'll say, hey, we've been holding on to this because they don't want to let go. It seems silly to some, but it's the last thing that they had to remember their family member by.
Yes.
And so to them, they're like, oh my goodness, I get to honor my family member by doing this, and they are still giving back even after their passing. And then those that receive the items are highly in need. A lot of them have been fighting with insurance companies for years and just can't get anything approved, and they're starting to feel hopeless. And let me tell you, when you're somebody who can't walk or you're going through mobility issues, it's very you feel like you're almost like you're worthless, like you've become a burden almost to others, right? And so giving these items to them to give them back a little bit of their independence and freedom, they cry with tears of joy because they finally feel like they can do something for themselves.
Oh, that is just so beautiful, Shatone. What is your favorite story to tell about the work that you do?
Yeah, so this lady reached out to us way back when I first opened and I was working out of my house, and she had been looking for a wheelchair for a couple of years. She was homebound, couldn't get out of her home, heard about us, traveled from North Seattle, and as she was driving to us, she is a tribal member, and she was driving past her tribe, and she said, I finally get to be with my tribe again. So she picked up the wheelchair, and about a year later, reached out to us again for an electric scooter, and we got one in a month after she requested it, so we gave it to her. And when she came to see us the second time, she said, you have no idea what you've done for me. You've given me back some of my independence. For the first time in 2 years, I was able to join my tribe for their canoeing days. And she was like, it just felt so great to have that freedom back again. And then the electric scooter, she was like, I finally get to go and be in the woods again and be in nature and go on hikes. And even though it's with a scooter, still, it was what she had been missing.
Such a cool God story. I love it. Shatone, you are doing the Lord's work. I mean, how often do you pray for a need and then it shows up?
It happens all of the time. And I tell people, if you are not a believer, you have to be in this. I have volunteers who come who are just like, how did that happen? And I said, it was by the grace of God. I will have somebody ask me for a piece of equipment. The very first time it happened was about a year ago. Somebody called and said, I need a Hoyer lift. And at that time, I wasn't getting large equipment. And I said, I don't have one in the moment, but I will find one for you. And that's what I do. If I don't have it, I will look for it. I've partnered with organizations and, the community that I can do that. And the very next day, somebody called me and said, hey, because my pastor at my campus had mentioned my nonprofit that Sunday during his service. And so he said, hey, I heard Pastor Joe's message and I want to donate a Hoyer lift to you and some other items. I was like, oh my goodness, you have no idea what this just did for us. So I was able to give that person, and they were completely immobile and had caregivers coming in to care for them. So it was making the caregivers' lives easier by having this Hoyer lift. But that kind of story is one of many that have happened since then. It's just, I get goosebumps every time it happens.
I've got them too. Good goosebumps.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, so how often do you match somebody up with something they need and then have an opportunity to share your faith in Jesus?
I share it all the time. And so I listen to Spirit 105.3 religiously. And so a lot of times I'll just have it on in the background, even with my volunteers who are not, some of them are not followers. They're not Christians.
Yeah.
And then almost every time I deliver items, it just happens to come up naturally in conversation. And I get to share my story a lot. And it's my faith that has carried me through. And so that's what I tell people is I started this because of what happened to me, but it's my faith that has kept me going, and it's God's intervention that keeps me going. Because let me tell you, being on disability, trying to come up with the funds to do this, and items are not expensive. When I have to buy wheels for a wheelchair, it's $100 for a pair of wheels. Like, wow. I'm on disability doing this. And wow. So I just share my story, and it just naturally comes out, and I end up praying for people a lot, or they pray for me. And it's a beautiful thing that's happening.
Oh, it sure is. Is there a song on Spirit 105.3 that really resonates with you, Shatone?
Yes. And I knew you were going to ask me that. And then I heard it on Friday, and I was like, this is the song. And then I can never remember it. But I think it's Nothing But a Hallelujah.
Yes.
How sometimes when you're in the midst of things, all you have is a prayer and hallelujah. And that's what gets you through. And that's the song that just resonates with me the most.
Wow. It's Let It Be a Hallelujah by Lauren Daigle.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Oh, that is wonderful. I am right there with you. That song had to grow on me a little bit, and now I'm digging it.
Yeah,
Oh,
me too.
wow. Well, Shatone from Lifting Spirits by Helping Hands, thank you for being part of the Spirit 1053 family. And I really hope that next time you have another good story, you'll let me know.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Way to go, loving our neighbors.
Thank you.
Take care, sweetie.